Hey everyone, Scotty Cobold, TEI manager here at Center Street facility to go over some deadlifting technique and show you some of the equipment we have specifically for deadlifts at this facility. Pretty exciting stuff. So here we have our deadlift jack. It's the only one in all of our facilities, but it's the only place with deadlift platforms too. It's pretty handy. All you have to do is rock it forward, scoot it out to get the bar off. If you want to take your weights off, you can roll the bar onto the jack, tilt it back, and then it's nice and easy. Your weights are off the ground. You can pull them off. You can add weight. Makes it much easier than struggling trying to get your weights on and off with the friction of the floor. Once your weight is off the jack, just move it off to the side so you don't have to worry about it. Now, when talking about deadlifts, there are several different techniques for deadlifting. There's a few different stances you can do. I'm going to go over what many consider to be more of a power lifter stance. I'm going to bring my bar nice and close. I want to be able to see, if I had shoelaces, I would want to be able to see my shoelaces on the far side of the bar. I want my shins nice and close to the bar because I want the weight to stay as close to my body as possible. I like to have my heels closer together than my toes. I'm going to hinge at my hips. So I'm not dropping my hips yet. They're pushing back. My knees are bending only as much as they need to allow my hips mobility. As I push my hips back as far as they can go, I still can't reach the bar, so then I bend. And as I bend down, my knees come in front of the bar, which puts my shins in contact with the bar. So if I was to try and just stand straight up here, I would grind the bar into my shins. That's not comfortable. That's not what we want. So I'm going to hinge at the hips, bend the knees, come into contact with the bar, and then I'm wedging myself in between the bar and the ground. And that's going to drive my hips back, and the weight starts coming off the ground automatically. So a deadlift starts as a leg drive and finishes with a hip extension. On the way back down, you are just doing it in reverse. You're folding at the hips, or you are hinging at the hips, and then your knees bend. You've got to make sure you keep the order correct. So another important thing to think about while deadlifting will be the Valsalva maneuver, closing the epiglottis so you can create strong internal pressure in your abdomen to keep your core nice and tight. Think of it like a closed can of soda versus an open can of soda. With a closed can, you can stand on it. It can support your weight. With an open can, you're gonna crush it right away. Now, it helps a lot to actually make a noise while closing the epiglottis. So you can take a deep breath. And you're closing your throat to not allow any air to escape. So in motion, it might look and sound something like this. I'm going to set myself up. I'm going to hinge at the hips. I'm going to reach down and contact my bar. I'm going to deep breath and Valsalva. A good cue for keeping your lats engaged while deadlifting is to think about bending the bar away from you. As you try to turn your wrists, it engages the lats. So Go through my setup, solid foot position, hinge at the hips, bend the knees, load. But before I lift, I'm thinking about bending the bar away from me. My elbows turn towards my back instead of being flared out, which helps me actively engage my lats, which will help keep my back protected. And then I Valsalva. Simple as that. Another version of the deadlift is what's known as the RDL, or Romanian deadlift, or straight leg deadlift. So with that one, you're gonna start the same way, and then the repetitions of the deadlift look a little bit different. So again, getting my feet set up. It's okay to do a little dance. Make sure that your feet feel like you have good contact with the ground. I don't like this so much. There's a little bit of a gap in the pads here. So I'm gonna step back a little bit, and I'm just gonna bring the bar to me. Good. Hinging at the hips, bending the knees, making contact with the bar. Good Valsalva. Now that I'm up here, I have to talk. I can't Valsalva. I'm going to hinge at the hips, keeping my back nice and straight, my shoulders packed, my lats engaged. And I'm just using my hips with this, allowing my knees to bend as much as they need to give my hips mobility, but keeping my legs as straight as I can. Moving through the motion slow and controlled. And I'm only going as low as my hip hinge allows, not trying to get the bar to the ground. Good glute contraction at the top. Hips back nice and low. Once you finish using the deadlift platform, we have our deadlift jack, which we head off to the side. We just bring it back over, slide it into the middle of the bar, rock it back. Then it's nice and easy to take our weights off and put them away, because that is good gym etiquette. It's not just about keeping the gym clean. It's about having respect for your other gym users. Not everybody can lift 45-pound plates. So if we leave the 45s on, it kind of limits how many people are even going to attempt deadlifting. And we want to make sure that this gym is accessible to everybody that can use it. I have with me here a 55-pound kettlebell to go over some kettlebell technique. We're going to start with the swing, which, you know, we did some deadlifting. We'll do some swings. A lot of the cues for the deadlift are applicable to the kettlebell swing. The best way to think about a swing is it's a deadlift done ballistically. In lifting, we have what's known as grinds and what's known as ballistics. Grinds, you're moving slowly through each motion. Ballistics, you're moving ballistically or rapidly. We can start with just a kettlebell deadlift. It's going to look very similar to a barbell deadlift. I'm going to find a good foot position. With a kettlebell, my feet are going to be wider because I'm placing the kettlebell in between my feet. I'm going to hinge at the hips, just like with the barbell. I'm going to bend the knees as much as I need to. I'm going to bend the handle away from me, which engages the lats. And then I'm going to load and come up. Now with each additional rep, I'm not going to go quite as low. Now, progressing from the deadlift to the swing is pretty simple. We're going to add what's known as the hike pass. For anybody that played football, a hike pass should be pretty familiar. A good cue for finding where you should be in relation to the kettlebell. You start with it in between your feet, and then you just take a casual step back. When you're loading the kettlebell, when you're getting ready to do a swing, you want to be in a good athletic position. So you don't want to be too far forward, you don't want to be too far back. You want the kettlebell to be in a position where you feel like you can move ballistically or athletically. Going to hinge at the hips, can't quite reach, going to bend at the knees, going to bend the bar or bend the handle to engage my lats, I'm going to rock back to engage the hamstrings, and then I'm going to throw the kettlebell behind me. In kettlebells, we call breathing with the hips biomechanical breathing. So with each hike pass, with each downward swing of the kettlebell, strong inhale through the nose, and with each time you lock out at the hips and knees, a strong exhale through the teeth. This exhale will help you remember to contract your abs, contract your core, keep your core tight so that you are protecting your back, as well as helping you remember to breathe enough. Looks a lot like this. One, two, three, 4, 5. When used appropriately, biomechanical breathing gives you time to inhale, exhale, and count your repetitions as the kettlebell floats up to shoulder height. There's a saying in kettlebells, the hips drive, the arms guide. All the power is coming from the hips and the lockout. I'm not lifting the kettlebell with my arms. I'm only guiding it to where I want it to be and then guiding it back down.